Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to explore an exciting topic. What is an ecosystem? This is part of Unit 1, Lesson 1 in our Grade 6 Social Studies course, adapted from Exploring the World. Over the next few minutes, we'll learn about the basics of ecosystems, what makes them special, and why they matter. I'm glad you're here, and I look forward to sharing this journey with you. Welcome to our exciting journey exploring ecosystems. Today, we'll discover how living things interact with each other and their environment. As we explore, we'll answer 3 key questions. First, what is an ecosystem? Second, through what process do living organisms within an ecosystem stay alive? And third, how are different ecosystems unique from one another? Now, for our class activity, we're going to do a think, pair, share. Take a minute to think about what you already know about ecosystems. Then, find a classmate, share your ideas, and be ready to discuss them with the whole class. This will help us connect what we already know to what we're about to learn today. Now, let's take a closer look at the Ecosystem Explorer's Dictionary. We'll start with the term habitat. A habitat is simply the natural home or environment of an animal, plant, or organism. It's where they live and find everything they need to survive. Next is species. A species is a group of similar organisms that can breed together and produce offspring. This helps us understand the diversity of life in different ecosystems. An organism, on the other hand, is any living thing. That includes plants, animals, and even microorganisms. Every organism plays a role in its ecosystem. Moving on, a biome is a large area characterized by specific climate conditions, plants, and animals. Think of it as a big community of ecosystems sharing similar features. The food chain is a way to show how energy moves through different organisms. It illustrates who eats whom, helping us understand the flow of energy and nutrients. Now let's look at some specific environments. The rainforest is a hot, humid forest with tall trees and a vast variety of animals. It's one of the most vibrant ecosystems on Earth. Herbivores are animals that only eat plants. They play an important role in maintaining the balance of their ecosystems. The tundra is a cold, treeless region covered with ice and snow. Despite its harsh conditions, it's home to specially adapted plants and animals. Carnivores are animals that eat other animals. They are often at the top of the food chain, controlling populations and maintaining balance. Vegetation refers to all the plants, trees, and other plant life in an area. Vegetation forms the foundation of most ecosystems, providing food and shelter. Finally, as part of our activity, I encourage you to match these vocabulary terms with their definitions on your paper. Afterward, compare your answers with a partner to reinforce your understanding. This will help you connect the words to the concepts we've discussed and see how they all fit into the bigger picture of ecosystems. Let's talk about the interconnected web of life within an ecosystem. An ecosystem is basically a community of trees, plants, animals, and insects that all live and interact in their natural habitat. It's like a big, bustling neighborhood where everyone has a role. Now, every ecosystem has different components that work together to keep everything balanced. First, we have the living components. These include plants, animals, insects, and even microorganisms. These are the beings that grow, breathe, and interact with each other. On the other hand, there are non-living components like water, soil, air, sunlight, and temperature. These are the environmental factors that support all the living things. Interactions between these components are really important. Think about feeding relationships, who eats whom, as well as competition and cooperation. These interactions help sustain the ecosystem and keep it healthy. Ecosystems come in all sizes. Some are as small as a puddle, and others, like oceans, can be enormous. No matter the size, each one is unique and plays a vital role in our planet's health. Now, I want you to do a quick activity. Look around your classroom or out the window. Can you identify 3 living components and 3 non-living components of the ecosystem you see? Take a moment, then share your observations with a partner. This helps us see how interconnected and diverse ecosystems can be. Now, let's talk about who eats whom and how food chains help us understand the connections between living organisms in an ecosystem. Essentially, living things survive by being part of a food chain, where one organism eats another to get the energy it needs. The sun plays a crucial role here. It provides light and energy that plants, which we call producers, use to make their own food through photosynthesis. From there, herbivores like deer are primary consumers because they eat the plants. Then come the carnivores, such as wolves and lions, which are secondary consumers. They hunt and eat the herbivores. This chain illustrates how energy flows from the sun, through plants, herbivores, and predators. A good way to think about this is, what is the main function of the food chain in an ecosystem? It's to show us how organisms get their energy by eating other organisms. For your class activity, I want you to create your own food chain. Think about a different ecosystem, maybe an ocean, a pond, or a forest, and draw a food chain that includes at least 4 different organisms. Make sure to show how the energy flows between them. Once you're done, share your food chain with the class. This exercise helps us visualize the connections and understand the importance of each organism in maintaining a balanced ecosystem. Ecosystems come in all shapes and sizes, and they are all around us, big, small, and everywhere in between. Each type of ecosystem has its own unique climate, plants, and animals that make it special and interesting. Let's start with deserts. These are typically dry and warm environments. You'll find cacti here, which are well adapted to store water, and animals like camels that can survive for long periods without water. Next, we have rainforests. These are wet and humid, with towering trees that create a lush canopy. You might see monkeys swinging from the branches, colorful birds filling the sky, and thousands of different plant species thriving in this environment. Then there are grasslands. These open, grassy areas are mainly covered with grasses, and they're home to grazing animals like zebras and gazelles. These animals are specially adapted to move quickly across the open space and find food. And of course, the oceans. Covering most of our planet, oceans are vast water ecosystems filled with incredible life like coral reefs, a wide variety of fish, and marine mammals such as whales and dolphins. Now, for our class activity, I want you to work in small groups. Choose one of these ecosystems and create a list of at least 5 plants and 5 animals that live there. Think about how these organisms are specially adapted to survive in their environment. This will help us understand just how diverse and interconnected ecosystems really are. Let's take a closer look at how different organisms adapt to their environments to survive and thrive. Plants and animals have developed incredible features that help them succeed in their specific habitats. Starting with desert plants, the cactus is a perfect example. It stores water in its thick stem, which is essential because deserts receive very little rainfall. This water storage allows the cactus to survive long, dry periods. Additionally, its spines serve a dual purpose. They reduce water loss through evaporation and also protect the cactus from animals that might want to eat it. Moving to the forest, the oak tree showcases different adaptations. It relies on the cool climate and regular rain to absorb nutrients through its extensive root system. Its broad leaves are designed to capture as much sunlight as possible, which is vital for photosynthesis. These features enable the oak to grow strong and healthy in its environment. All these adaptations are key because they allow these plants to survive and even flourish in places that might seem too harsh or challenging. They exemplify how living organisms are perfectly suited to their ecosystems. Now for the practice question, why do cacti store water? The answer is to survive in dry and hot conditions. This adaptation is crucial for their survival in arid deserts where water is scarce. Let's explore how geographers map the world's major biomes using color-coded zones on maps. These biomes help us understand where different ecosystems are found across the globe. There are 5 main types to keep in mind. First, we have the aquatic biome, which includes water-based ecosystems like oceans, lakes, and rivers. These areas are crucial because they cover most of the Earth's surface and support a huge variety of life. Next is the desert biome, characterized by hot, dry conditions with very little rainfall. Plants and animals here are specially adapted to survive in such harsh environments. Then, we have grasslands, which are open areas dominated by grasses rather than trees. These zones are often rich in wildlife and vital for agriculture. Moving on, the forest biome includes regions with many trees, such as rainforests and deciduous forests. These forests are incredibly diverse and play a key role in Earth's climate regulation. Lastly, we have the tundra, which is a cold, treeless region with frozen soil and only small plants capable of surviving in such extreme conditions. To make this more interactive, I encourage you to work in small groups for the Biome Explorer activity. Choose one biome and identify 5 plants and 5 animals that live there, thinking about the special adaptations that help them survive in their environment. This activity helps us connect these biomes to the real world and understand how life adapts to different conditions. Let's explore the fascinating differences between rainforests and deserts, 2 very distinct biomes. Starting with rainforests, these areas have a wet and humid climate characterized by heavy rainfall throughout the year. This consistent moisture supports tall trees and dense vegetation, creating a lush, green environment. The rich plant life provides habitat for a variety of animals like monkeys, birds, insects, and frogs. Because of the humid and warm conditions, humans living in rainforests adapt by wearing light clothing and building raised homes to stay dry and cool. Now, contrasting that with deserts, which are hot and dry with very little rainfall. The climate here is harsh, and the environment is dominated by drought-resistant plants like cacti and shrubs. The animal inhabitants, such as camels, lizards, and snakes, are specially adapted to survive extreme heat and scarce water. Human adaptation in deserts involves wearing loose clothing to stay cool and conserving water whenever possible. Here's a quick practice question. What kind of ecosystem has high humidity, many tall trees, and a warm climate? Think about it. The answer is C, rainforest. For our class activity, imagine moving from a rainforest to a desert. What are 3 things you would change about your daily life to adapt to your new environment? Reflect on clothing, hydration, and how you'd manage your activities differently. All right, now it's time for a quick quiz to test your ecosystem knowledge. We'll go through some statements, and I want you to think about whether they are true or false. First up, the food chain helps organisms survive by providing energy. Think about how energy flows from one creature to another. That's what keeps ecosystems functioning. So this statement is true. Next, we have the idea that rainforests have dry and warm climates like deserts. But we know rainforests are actually very wet and humid, with consistent rainfall and warm temperatures. So this one is false. Then lions are herbivores that only eat plants. Actually, lions are carnivores. They eat meat, mainly other animals. So this statement is false as well. Moving on, the statement that people do not adapt to different ecosystems. This is false. Humans have shown incredible ability to adapt to a wide variety of environments around the world. Finally, a biome is a large area with a specific climate, plants, and animals. This is true. Understanding biomes helps us see how different ecosystems are connected by their climate and life forms. Now, for our class activity, I want you to work with a partner to come up with 3 more true or false questions about ecosystems. After that, swap questions with another pair and try to answer them. And don't forget, when you answer, explain your reasoning. That's how we deepen our understanding of these concepts. All right, let's dive into some fun activities to sharpen our skills. We're going to start with fill in the blanks. First, think about what kind of tree grows in cooler climates and absorbs nutrients through its roots. That's right, an oak tree. Next, consider what provides energy for plants to grow and sustain life in an ecosystem. The answer is the sun. Without it, life as we know it wouldn't be possible. Now, let's talk about the Middle East. It's mostly located in the desert biome, which is characterized by very little rainfall and dry conditions. Moving on, what do we call a map that shows where different ecosystems are found around the world? That's a biome map. It helps us visualize the distribution of various ecosystems. And finally, the desert ecosystem is hot and dry with very little rainfall, making it unique and challenging for life. Now, let's switch gears to match the term with its description. A biome is a large area with a specific climate, plants, and animals. The tundra is a cold, treeless region with ice and snow. The desert, as we mentioned, is a dry area with little rain, home to cacti and other drought-resistant plants. The rainforest is a hot, humid forest teeming with tall trees and many animals. And the food chain shows how organisms get energy by eating others. So it's all about the flow of energy within an ecosystem. As a class activity, I encourage you to work in small groups. Complete these exercises on paper, and then challenge another group by creating your own fill-in-the-blank question and matching pair related to ecosystems. This interactive practice helps reinforce what we've learned and makes it more engaging. So, take your time, think critically, and have fun with it. Your ecosystem journey continues. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned about ecosystems. An ecosystem is essentially a community of both living things, like plants and animals, and non-living things, such as water, soil, and air, all interacting in their natural habitat. These interactions are what keep the ecosystem balanced and thriving. We also explored food chains, which show us how energy flows through an ecosystem, from the sun to plants, and then to animals that eat those plants. This flow of energy is fundamental to understanding how life sustains itself in different environments. Speaking of environments, our planet has 5 main biomes: aquatic, desert, grassland, forest, and tundra. Each biome has unique conditions, plants, and animals adapted specifically to survive there. Plants and animals develop special adaptations, like thick fur in the tundra or water-conserving leaves in deserts, that help them survive in their particular ecosystems. Remember, you are part of this ecosystem too. Your actions, whether you realize it or not, can help protect the incredible diversity of life on Earth. We all have a role in maintaining the health of our planet. Now, for our final activity, I encourage you to start an ecosystem journal. Each day for a week, observe and record what you see: plants, animals, and non-living elements in an ecosystem near you, like your backyard, a park, or school grounds. Notice how the living things interact and depend on each other and their environment. And if you're eager to learn more, explore books about ecosystems at your school library or visit websites like National Geographic Kids. The more we understand, the better we can protect and cherish the amazing world around us.